The UFL Gambling Podcast Week 1 reaction show on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up over at Underdog Fantasy. They got UFL action. Use our promo code TCESGPN to get up to $1,000 in bonus credits. We're also brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes, get up to $750 in cashback rewards each month when you sign up at edgeboost.bet. Use the promo code SGPN. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Yes, it is. Do I not currently have a pulse? Yes, I do. Let's play football.
Welcome to the UFL / XFL Gambling Podcast. Yes, it still counts, right? You hop on over
spring
there.
Ball, baby.
SG.PN/UFL. Subscribe to the podcast. Type in UFL Gambling Podcast on YouTube. You can watch this show live. We got graphics and everything. We're all here. No, we're not actually. J-Mark is not here. Turns out he was on the same flight as The Rock. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Colby Swigga Database Dan, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
He's the kind of guy that would drink a gallon of gasoline so he could piss in your campfire. You could drop this guy off at the Arctic Circle wearing a pair of bikini underwear without his toothbrush, and tomorrow afternoon he's going to show up at your poolside with $1 million smile and a fistful of pesos.
Here we go. Shout out to Drunken Irishman saying, I'm still hungover from the beer snake. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Week 1 is in the books. Shout out to Channing Brown. We can tout a little bit. I am joined by my co-host. He is the host of the Bottom Line Bombs podcast. Check that out. Give it up for some know him as Scumbagger Vance, some know him as the Bet Detective, TJ Sullivan. How are you, brother?
Good to be here after week 1 in the books of the old spring football. I'm a spring football guy shirt coming on there. Shout out to the chat, of course. Drunken Irishman. What a game he got with the beer snake there at DC. Probably the game of the weekend to attend. It looked like a blast, especially if you're on DC. I was not. But we did tout. We hit everything else. Even old-fashioned football, J. Mark, who is pulling a Weisenhunt. He's on a personal leave here this week, and he will be back just like Weisenhunt out of nowhere. But he is he's
kind of pulling a Greg Williams. He's in here. Right. Yeah, he's in here. We thought he was gone, but he's here.
That was tilting. I had a parlay. Not a lot of places you could parlay the UFL. So Vegas, you could, of course. Kramer and Sean, they go there on Fridays. I give Kramer a little money, put a little ticket in for me, a little fun time. And so I put a nice big $200 parlay on. We had the Arlington money line, easy bank cigar piece. I couldn't get in St. Louis because that was Friday night. Michigan, they rolled. And then the one I'm not going to worry about is Birmingham. It's the dynasty. They've only lost 4 games in 3 years, for crying out loud. That's gonna roll into that, and they got fucking smoked. It was, even though it was a 1-score game, it was a bloodbath. I'm like, what the hell happened? But other than that, we killed it though. We did kill it. I even won some money on the DFS.
I did too on DFS, and I went 6-1-1 on my plays and totals. The only one I lost was the DC Birmingham as well, and there was a Birmingham dust up. I mean, we can talk about this in a minute, I guess. But how great was that? You called me the doorman at headquarters.
I know. That was absolutely amazing. Skip Holtz. Anytime Skip Holtz is getting yelled at, in midfield,
he's like, "What?
What are you talking about?" They're just making shit up.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever gets you motivated. They did. They took it to them. They took belt to ass to the dynasty. So that was incredible. I wish I was on DC just because it just seemed like fun to root for them because they were my kind of game. 8 sacks. They just it was all like just defensive line. And great. That was the other thing too with Greg Williams. That was part of our handicapping. And we even gave a disclaimer.
The whole staff was gone.
We even gave a disclaimer, Colby. We were like, this is normally a situation, an opener, revenge game where I would like to take DC as a sneaky dog here, with the points, obviously, to be motivated for this game. But everyone's gone. They're all down in Tennessee Tech. Even Greg Williams was supposed to be down in Tennessee Tech. Tennessee State. I mean, like he would have stood out there. That'd be great. Historically black college, and Greg Williams walking around the campus with a couple ladies.
Well, I don't get they ain't cold, but they're counting down 7-6.
Next time he was on the sideline. What the hell's going on here? They just lied. He was amazing though. He threw his players under the bus. He's like, listen, I'm calling what they can do, not what I want to call. They can't do the system, so I made the system for them. So whatever.
And I'm out of here soon. So the hell with them.
Yeah,
but
right.
I think it started great because The Rock was supposed to be Friday night.
Oh,
we'll get to this game, but
let's start it right off. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we got slides. We'll go through the look at this over here. I don't know, it might not look amazing, but
that looks incredible.
There we go.
That's exactly what the season opener deserves. Is that graphic right there? Friday night in Houston. The Rock was supposed to be there.
Yeah. By the way, can we get the bet detective on the case? Because we had the players union for the UFL wrote a letter to The Rock. All of a sudden, he doesn't show up because he likes to be the players guy. Even his video from Hawaii, my players that are grinding. Can we get the bet detective on the case? Because I don't know. I mean, you're The Rock. If you can get to fucking Houston if you want to get to Houston. You buying this bullshit they're selling?
Of course you can get to Houston. What did he claimed that his plane couldn't make it there? Is that what he said?
The hydraulics on the plane over the Pacific Ocean.
Okay.
My pilot came to me. He goes, my pilot came to me and he kneeled down. He knelt down and said, Mr. Johnson, we're not going to make it. We got to turn around. And I said, you do what you got to do. Right?
Yeah.
Please. Okay. But my players, I just want to send a sincere to my players.
Right. You're the goddamn Rock. Fast and Furious would put you in a goddamn fucking jet car that could fly you through space and could drop you in Houston. No, the word got out. Yeah. The word got out that the players who were going to be striking, which way to read the room, UFL players calling for a strike there.
Yeah. Then you came out to what? I told you we would have more. We had like 375 people watching us live on our week one picks. I think we won. I think we won that battle.
It was close, but the players were going to hand The Rock a letter to back that story. That was the thing. They were going to hand a letter.
Nightmare. PR nightmare.
Saying like, Rock here, I don't know if you know what's going on, but this is the conditions we're dealing with. Rock got word of that. Goes, yeah, I'm not going to be there for that. That sounds extremely awkward. He pulled a Morgan Wallen, walked right the hell off and out to the sunset. And next thing you know, he sent his ex-wife there, sent Perez, sent Danny down there. She can handle the letter shit, and let's see if that works out. And, they got the game going on there. You're right. Not a big crowd, though. You're right at Houston for sure.
Well, it was not the smartest strategy to do this in the middle of the Sweet 16. Also, when the Houston Cougars were playing, but also it dawned on me that it was also the season opener for the Houston Astros at that same exact time as well.
Well, you're going to have competition. Come on, Colby. You sound like me when I go to a town and my stand-up show's got 30 people there. I'm like, oh, what's happening? Are the Expos playing today? What's going on there? Must be at the old Nationals game, man. No one's going there. They're just not coming here. But you're right, Houston. It was a tough draw. Sweet 16 games. The Astros, but they got a decent amount of people, and they saw a whooping. And Houston does look like the worst team in the league.
Well, you gotta love this league because you can't get fired from being a head coach. I feel like you can do everything. How Curtis Johnson was able to retain his job, and then they came out in front of their home crowd and put up a nice 170 yards.
170 yards. St. Louis had 460. So that's almost 3 times. 7.2 a play for St. Louis there. The under hit, like we should say unders went 3-1 and
2.6 yards per pass. I didn't even know that's possible. How's that fucking possible? I've watched a lot of football in my life.
Right.
I don't know that I can recall a time, besides like a Navy game when they're 0 for 1 on a pass. I can't recall a time where you're good. Anyway, 2.6. How are you completing these passes consistently for 2.6 yards?
Incredible.
Have you ever seen? I've never seen it that low. I've never ever seen it that low with that many passing attempts. 29 passing attempts, right?
Yeah.
12 completions. That's it. It's almost like I honestly believe like I've covered the USFL, CFL, college football, FCS. I don't know that I've ever seen a yards per attempt that low while passing that many attempts and that many completions ever.
Not the shining example the league wanted to show on Friday night with the hometown. They played. They did. There was a little tradition going on there. I don't know if you saw that, where when the road team comes out, the home PA announcer will play some song like they'll play "Loser" by Beck, or they'll play some some kind of soft song to troll them. And then both those teams got destroyed every time they did that. They did that with St. Louis. It's gonna be tough to say, because I thought St. Louis looked great, but then all of a sudden, but also who knows? They were playing Houston. I mean, Houston's so bad. Curtis Johnson, as EMS says in the chat, he's cool with him staying there because Houston might be free money every game. His quote. I'll say it every week when we talk about Houston. Curtis Johnson's the one that just gifted the team in the league during the merger. When he talks about the Super Challenge, he goes, "I don't care if I do it for an important play. I just want to be right. So I'll do it for an offsides, whatever. I just want to be right." And that's so fucking mind-blowing.
I want this pilot. It's a matter of national security.
But on the other side, St. Louis, like I said, it's hard to judge exactly how good they are because it was Houston. But Manny Wilkins looked amazing. Looked great, threw for 189.
He did look good. He did look really
43. Good. Sailors ran for 98. I had him on my DFS. Howard broke a big one for 115 yards.
Anthony Brown. Yeah. I don't know that you're ready for the moment yet here. But Nolan Henderson, how did you guys not? I guess they brought in Anthony Brown, but how did you not? I don't understand how. I know Magoo didn't look good. Magoo didn't look good for the Stallions, but I'm not going to hit the panic button yet. But I'm like, they got Corral, they got Matt, they got Case Cookus and Matt Corral, and I'm like, how does Houston not have? And you telling me this is the best they could find? I don't believe that. I watched the CFL, and there's like backups in the CFL that I know are better than these fucking guys, right? Yeah,
let me take a deeper dive into this, because I can't, because you're right. I can't, looking at these stats, I can't even believe these were real.
Dude, Anthony Brown, 5 of 11, 45%, 1.9 yards of completion.
1.9.
How is that possible?
2 interceptions for a 12.9 QBR. That's a 12-9 for 12 for 29 for the team went. And you also put a 12.9. Nolan Henderson, not much better. 7 for 18.
Well, he doubled his average. So you put in the hot hand. I understand.
He was the hot hand. He tossed a touchdown for a 68.8 rating, which seems like Joe Montana compared to Anthony Brown's numbers. He did hit Hall for that one touchdown, but I mean, not good all around. And he ran for. He looked all right running, though. He ran for 54 yards. He had a big 130-yard rush, I remember.
Yeah.
Other than that, Brown even had a 20-yard rush. But other than that, dear Lord, who are these guys? This is like the beginning of Major League. Who the fuck are these guys?
Dude, I shit you
running
not.
back. They're garbage.
I know we like to shit on it, but I've never seen it. I've covered the FCS for years. I've covered the FBS. I have never seen that many completions with an average that low. It's something that I actually think we could frame and put it up in the studio. But back to the players union. If you didn't see the 75 people that were at this game, maybe you reverse order on sending the Rock your letter.
Yeah. The letter just should have said the 3 words, get us a quarterback. I mean, my God. Is there someone on the movie set of the Gridiron Gang you could have brought over or something?
I mean, I saw a video of Jamie Foxx throwing a football at a basketball stadium, like from one basket to the other. I mean, you can get him maybe. I don't know, but
he's Willie Beeman. Get Willie Beeman out
that's
there.
What I'm saying. I don't understand the players union. It's so hilarious. They went insurance year round, which
I mean, listen, I get it.
So do I, right?
I mean, I get you can't. I can't fault these guys for asking for it. You're not going to get it, but I mean, anytime people want money or whatever it is, I get it. You're workers, and they should get insurance. I mean, they're playing football, which is you can shit on the level of it all, but I mean, they're going to get hurt. It's a physical violence sport.
But no, I think they wanted it year round. I think that's the tricky thing.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they need a lot of things year round. They also want groceries and diaper money year round, but they're not going to get that either. All right. The Rock's got islands to buy, for crying out loud.
I mean, just a royal ass whooping.
Yeah.
Cashed on the under by a hook.
By the hook.
Oh my God. And then obviously laid it with the Battlehawks there.
That was great. That was a great lay. That number came down. I remember kickoff. It went off at 6, but it was coming ticking down. And obviously there was a little concern because AJ McCarron wasn't there. But like I said, Wilkins looked great. But I mean, doesn't matter who you throw out there against Houston. I think.
Yeah. I mean, Houston power rankings. We'll give out some power rankings.
Right. We'll give out power rankings.
Yeah. Sure. Before we get to the next game, I want to let you know that the UFL Gambling Podcast is part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. And why would you pay for some touts Discord when you can get access to SGPN's and UFL Gambling Podcast Discord completely free? Yes, you can hang out with us in our community, the SGPN community, breaking down all of the DGen action. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Once again, I was 6-1-1. All right. So meanwhile, you're paying for old, Joey 2 times his plays. What are you doing? It's free. Come on. That's one thing that's funny. I feel like, we were bashing the UFL a lot. Maybe I was. Maybe you guys were the supporters.
You're in their corner.
Yeah. But I at least come through knowing what the fuck I'm talking about. 6-1-1. That's all I'm saying. 6-1-1.
Well, that's the thing. I'm going to speak on that real quickly. I mean, the market is here for it. There's a reason why. Listen, I still enjoy the football. I enjoy any football being played. I'm a fan of that. But when people say only degenerates bet on that, or you're a sicko if you bet on that, what the fuck are you talking about? What edge do you have on week 9 of the NFL season? This is where the markets are at. This is where there's soft openings. This is where you get holes. I felt extremely confident going into week 1 UFL, and it pretty much came out to exactly how we thought it was going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, and we've given away DFS lineups too. I mean, I think
these are all pays.
I've cashed for over $1,000. I finished first in one of them, and then I finished in second in another. So we've made some good cash on the DFS side of things too. So yeah, get on over there, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord, free to enter. We're also brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes, SGPN's partnered up with Edge Boost, the premier Visa debit card for bettors. An Edge Boost card allows you to avoid the hassle of having your card denied at the sportsbook, DFS site, sweepstakes site, racetrack, or casino. Plus, you can earn up to $750 per month in cashback rewards for using your Edge Boost card. And your money is safe as the card is FDIC insured. And the best part is no credit checks, and it is completely free. So sign up today at edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. And we're also brought to you by mybookie.ag. Right now, hell, I got the Oregon State UCF college basketball, the Crown game going on. And MyBookie is your place to bet every sport, but specifically the Crown college basketball games. If you haven't
Crown
followed
has been
story,
ripped off the markets across country, including in your Kakalaka area. Come on over to the offshores because the overs are hitting, fellas, in that Crown. By the way.
Oh yeah. I know the bet detective's killing it on the overs.
5-0.
5-0 on those overs. We're doing all right. ATS. So you're mybookie.ag. Plus they got props for every game. And MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of different locations. You can easily deposit and get lightning fast payouts using crypto. So head on over to mybookie.ag, use our promo code TCESGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1,000. That's mybookie.ag, promo code TCE SGPN. All right, we are back, and the next matchup was an easy. What was this? I forget what we get. Plus 130.
We got plus 130. They were getting 3 at home. We call this outright dog winner.
And how about our futures? How about our futures here? We went from I think it's at plus 600 now. It was at plus 1100, I think, when we did our episode.
We gave it out before the season started, which was a week ago. Arlington at 11-1 as their future, and CJV over here, CJ Value, it is now at plus 450 after 1 week. Or 475. It depends where you shop it at. I'm looking right now in my bookie. It's 475. So right in the mix of everyone else. But I mean, that's a huge drop just from one game, and all for the reasons we said. They had the lead offense last year, right behind Birmingham. They got the quarterback with the book come out. That's become a thing. The King of Spring, Luis Perez. I mean, they're reading on the sideline. AJ Brown style. Oh, they're ordered. They're coming to the studio. We're sending some to North Carolina, and J Mark's definitely getting some Christmas gifts. He's the King Luis Perez hater, so we're sending him some book. I gotta read the King of Spring. That can't be a hard read, right? That could be a couple sessions on the toilet, right? I'm going breezing right through the King of Spring.
Fantastic! What a genius! He's gonna make more money on that than he ever made any of the spring leagues.
Yeah, and they love it. They're harassing him for it. But I tell you what, he looked good. Arlington looked good.
That was the number 2 offense in the league last year, arguably number 1 if you take out the game that he didn't play in. And part of our handicap was that I think the Brahmas, we knew kind of were a lucky team from a year ago. Can they sustain that luck? We'll see with son of bum Wade Phillips there. But also Bob Stoops had talked about how much he thought this defense was improved. Now, you never know if that's going to be coach speak or what.
Right.
But boy, they didn't give up a score until late in the fourth.
Defense,
yeah.
Defense was great. I tell you what wasn't coach speak was when he said, who impressed you on a camp? He said, Kalen Balaj, keep an eye on him.
No, you played him in DFS too. Well played.
In DFS. He ripped off that 70-yard touchdown, 9 for 110 he had. I mean, they tried to give him one in the goal line, try to get a second one in there, but that bastard who was it? Smith with it. I will give him this. He had a gentleman stat line. 3 rushes, 3 yards, 3 touchdowns.
I saw the UFL, the actual homepage of the UFL tweeted out, like, what a stat line. I'm like, hey, look, this is nothing shocking. You ever heard of Brad Baxter? This is what happened. Gerald Riggs on the Redskins in '91. Right. Like this is, but it was a good stat line for DFS. You got to feel robbed if you.
He absolutely vultured it. Yeah, but I do like a clean gentleman stat line though. 3-3-3. That was kind of great. But yeah, Perez looked great. Bowers looked great. They all look great. I'm not ready to pull the plug on San Antonio yet. One of the other reasons why we handicapped was the turnover early in the season. UFL, you want continuity. You want same coach, you want same quarterback, you want same system, and they were turning it over. They turned it over to Mond, who did not look good, by the way. He 5 yards of 10, he threw 450 yards. But I mean, like I said, I'm willing to give them time. Also, why don't they give McFarland the ball? It's the same shit as last year. It's ridiculous. He had a 30-yard run. I'm like, this is an NFL running back. Give him the ball. No,
he's the best running back in the league. I think I think by a decent amount too. I think by like a pretty large amount. The Kellen Mond thing, I never thought he was that good in college under Jimbo Fisher. He didn't play very good, but we'll see. I do agree. We got to give them time. You saw this last year with AJ Smith's offense. Right. it opens up over time, but either way, if I'm McFarland, I'd rather play for a different team personally. They still only 4.4 yards per passing attempt. Let's say this now, Arlington on this side, 6.3, but 4.4 is pretty shitty as well.
Terrible.
Considering how, that offense could fly a little bit last year. It's a little shocking. And they did rush for 5.2 yards a rush though.
They did. And I was just going to say, and amazingly, this was the only game that went over on the weekend. A couple were close, but this one went over, but that's because of how good Arlington is. And like we said, this offense is elite. It can play with anybody.
Yeah. And if, honestly,
so
they're going to win that. They're going to, after week 1. I mean, I think you got to have them power rated 1 after the way they looked, but
as far as against who was against the competition, well, maybe you could talk about DC as well, but Arlington looked the best, I think, of anyone.
Yeah, I would agree. Shout out to All Around RU. Colby, I know you don't watch the NFL, but do you think NFL preseason is the same level as UFL when the 3s and 4s are in? So look, the final NFL pregame preseason game is what I would compare it to. Not the first, not the second, not the third. Certainly not the second and third, but now it's 3. What is the 3-game preseason because they're complaining about injuries or some shit. But
and they're complaining about injuries, so they tacked on 2 more regular season games.
Yeah. So glad to see your union did well.
But let's ban the tush push though. You fucking pussies.
What's happening? I that drives me crazy. It's like, Bill Polian started this bullshit. You know what I mean?
You're 100% right. Bill Polian with his whining stuff. Oh, they can do something we can't stop. So
you used to be able to just say, well, we have to. You can do it.
Right.
I don't understand. Like, you can do what they are doing. Get better than them. That's the way it used to be, I feel like, in sport in general, but specifically in football.
Whatever happened to it being a copycat league? That whole nonsense. The best was Buffalo, because Buffalo was really against McDermott, and like they run it the second most amount of times, And so like they're like, and he was like a politician. Like, so why don't you why do you think it should be banned? He goes, well, for player safety, Really? What's the data? Well, there's no data that says that anyone gets hurt, but just the eyeball test. I think it's very dangerous. Really? You run it the second most in the league. Okay, fair point. He's like, so that mean you don't care about your players' safety? Well, if they're gonna let me run it, like, well, what are you talking about?
It's absolutely ridiculous. I actually think it goes against the core values of what is football. And I'm no Eagle fan. I'm just saying, like, to me, it is exactly what the sport was designed to be.
Yes, I know. Because I love that complaint, like, oh, it doesn't look like football. No, that's exactly what football looks like.
Yes.
I think what doesn't look like football is your spread motion offense.
Your 7-on-7 bullshit. Yeah.
Shotgun wasn't the NFL.
Well, can you imagine that? Can you imagine when Bill Walsh wheeled out the West Coast offense?
Yeah, exactly.
He's throwing to his running backs and tight ends too much. God damn it. We should make this illegal. We should make this illegal. Or the Splitsburg, this defense, this innovative defense they have,
right?
With the way they put the nose guard, and then they have the gaps. This should be illegal because you had these fast guys coming out. What are we doing? Like, innovation, that's supposed to be at the core of fucking football. You're supposed to copy it or adapt and make it even better. Anyway, that's not really going to become illegal, is it? Are they really going to do that?
Today it did not pass. So, but they had a lot of votes. They still have a lot of votes. So now we want names. We want right.
I know the Packers and Mark Murphy. That pile of shit.
When he started it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because it's such a gray area. This is another reason why the rules of football get worse.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you start approving this, like the Polian bullshit, right?
Yeah.
With the Pats and the Colts back in like 2006 or whatever year it was. Then you don't know what like you go deeper into the gray area of not knowing what the fuck the rule is, right?
Mm.
So you're just sitting there like, so you're telling me now what happens when you give the ball to the running back and you're at you're fighting for a first down and all of a sudden the receiver comes along and gives you that final nudge going up against the defenders. Does that become illegal? It becomes that's what I'm saying. It becomes such a fucking it's really insane to me. But back to Renegade glory.
Speaking of running backs.
Oh man, I mean, and it was great to see, to me, just the King of Spring looked that good. Now he didn't throw any touchdowns though, surprisingly.
He did not, and he threw an interception, but he was at 80% completion, and which for him is great. 164 yards. He did what he needed to do. Look, it was a smoke game, and it ran all over him. So, he wasn't asked to throw for a lot, but when he did, and he actually picked up one big rushing third down. I mean, Perez looked the part. He had the book. The teammates were reading the book on the sideline. He is the King of Spring. So I can't wait to get our copies. And,
yes.
Let's ship this Battlehawk future.
Let's go. All right. Next up, we're going to talk about the Michigan Panthers sticking it to the Memphis Showboats. Ken Wisenhunt, he had quit the team allegedly, but not.
Well, he had they said it was personal reasons, and I think it was when he personally saw his roster practicing. He's like, "What the fuck am I doing here? I can't."
You know what it was like he got his wife Coldplay tickets or some shit, and he couldn't get out of it. And he's like, personal.
Personally, I will not be there. Spiritually, though, I will spiritually be there. How about that? And you say this because he came right back, and now he's back there coaching.
What the hell is that news today? I'm like, wait, why even have that much shenanigans? Why don't you just say he had the fucking flu? If you knew it was going to be one game, you can say that something happened. But this one we nailed. I nailed actually the Panthers here, but I did push on the total.
Well, that's a good push for you. I mean, let's talk about these numbers real quick, because when we did our show, Michigan was at 3.5. I noticed line open at 3. Then the coaching news came out. We're like, well, let's just hammer Michigan. And then it actually went off at 7, went up to 5.5, 6. I pucked a little more, 5.5. I stopped there. The total actually went off at 38.5, and I don't fish at 38. I mean, that's if you're adding late, and that's just a disclaimer for anyone listening and who was want to bet. If you like a number, bet on this early, because these numbers move a lot. Especially towards kickoff. And it was the pick 6 that made the 38.
Nakua, yeah.
Well,
who's
Nakua
I think
scored,
the guy who's supposed to deliver the letter, right?
He
wrote the letter. I don't know. One of the two.
One of the guys in the league can write. Yeah, write the fucking letter. Nakua dropped it off, but then they had a pick 6, and then the extra point missed it that would have hit the over. And I say this because Erin Dolan was all over the coverage of she's the ESPN bet guru girl.
Yeah.
And
explaining what you're supposed to do here.
And she has a lot of pointless betting updates. Like she's like, oh, this over hit, all these prop overs is great. That's not like telling us to bet anything. But then she actually said this. Once that extra point hit, she goes, brutal beat for anyone on the over of 38.5. What? Brutal beat. It was a pick 6. Like 30 seconds to go to get there. It would have been a brutal beat if you had the under, maybe. I mean, that was crazy. But as far as the game goes, and Sam brings it up in the chat, this actually was a tighter game. The fuck is that? Total yards 287 and 247, and we thought there was going to be a EP Perry revenge game. That was not happening. Troy Williams looked great though as soon as he got in there, and then they went back to Perry. It was weird.
Well, hold on. Let's talk about that for a second, because I think this is where
I wouldn't say great, but he gave him life.
Yeah. What does Tears for Fears say? We gave you life, and this is some bullshit like they gave you life, and this is how you repay them, or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But
I like a Tears for Fears reference. That's great,
buddy. But hold on. Like, I believe this is a major problem in the league.
Okay.
I tweeted this. I know SGPN Doc also tweeted this too. And it goes back to Anthony McFarland, and it goes back to Bryce Perkins. Perkins looked amazing, and then they pull him for Etling.
I know.
Okay, we will never take this league serious if you keep doing this hodgepodge shit. You know what I mean? Like this, you want to see the best players. Like if you go to the game, if you're a fan of Michigan, even for me, I'm not a fan of one team, but he's by far like a top 3 player in the league. So you want to see the guy fucking play. Now, Etling only had those 6, I think they came to their senses a little bit, but still with Anthony McFarland, with Bryce Perkins, they did this a lot last year. And that's why I bring it up is like,
I know you are a Perkins stan. You always have been. He looked great. Hell, he looked good in the NFL when he played for the NFL. Let alone in Virginia. He went to Virginia, right? That's
Virginia and Arizona State. But
he threw for 163 yards, 84% completion. This guy. I mean, he looked good. He looked the part.
8.6 yards a completion. That's how it's supposed to look when you when you have a quarterback.
My bet detective case about these stories with the UFL. I would assume that when they're signing these quarterbacks, and it's probably only with quarterbacks or other big names, that they guarantee them they'll get some burns.
Well, that's a problem.
To show themselves, right? Like Etling, listen, we'll get you in there for at least 30% of the snaps because you have to because you want to get some tape to showcase yourself to hopefully get yourself promotion.
That's a huge flaw in the league then, because if you're trying to market the league, if you're trying to sell hope on why you should attend a Michigan Panther game, why you should even root for the Michigan Panthers, or whatever the team is, you want to see the best players. And I disagree with the pay in a way. Like it's this communist regime of everyone, all quarterbacks pay the same. Right. I'm sorry. Bryce Perkins, did you see Anthony Brown this weekend? Like
I know.
They're on different fucking planets. They're on different planets. You want to market this league. You want any chance of this league succeeding. You got to get Anthony McFarland on the field more. You got to get Bryce Perkins on the field more. I really think when this thing fails, and it will fail, that they will look back. They will look back on the way that this thing. I mean, just from fan turnout and TV ratings,
right?
It was not the greatest week. I don't know. I think I don't understand the ideology on it. Well, when they signed the contract, we promised Etling third. How about you just promise the best player is going to fucking play?
Yeah. The rating numbers were a little lower from last year. Still, I mean, it's still solid in the 800,000. They didn't crack a million. Shout out real quick in this game to Jonathan Adams, who leads the league in receiving after a big game there. He had 6 for 93.
I've been a fan for him for a while. He was at Arkansas State balling out. Glad to see him shining.
Yeah.
EJ Perry's not very good. But
one of these guys have to go down to Houston, right? Just like when Luis Perez got over to the champion there for the XFL. I mean, we got
them owning the whole league. Can we? I mean, even Etling. Yeah, fucking send Etling to Houston. Yeah,
send anyone.
Trade him for a fucking third string linebacker. We're good. Make it happen.
Who's on the IR? Remember they traded for an injured linebacker
with 3 tackles on the year.
I can't even give a healthy Rob body.
Luis Perez, the king of spring. You traded the king of spring for a linebacker with 3 tackles.
That's a chapter in the book.
Yeah. I mean, it should be. It should be. I want to know what you think of the Showboats moving forward, though. Was that impressive in a way?
It was more impressive than I thought it was going to be. They were horrible last year. Their defense was really bad. But like we said, the Michigan flopping around the quarterbacks, it was. I mean, they played better than I thought they would. They need some, maybe Weisenhunt coming back. Now, I'm not a fan. I mean, listen, Weisenhunt's a name, obviously. But when these NFL coaches come back in after a couple of years off, sometimes they're stuck in their ways and they're trying to bring in a non-innovative system to players that can't execute it anyway.
You know my opinion on this. Like, I mean, I sound like a fucking. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I really think this is the reason why Skip Holtz has won 3 straight championships. Is I believe in the college game, with even before the portal, like the fact you have to recycle your whole roster every year.
Right.
You're actually taught to adapt to change really quick, really fucking quick. Bob Stoops won an XFL championship, even though it was a rigged one with the King of Spring getting traded for it. But I truly believe that we've seen a lot of these NFL coaches come down to these levels and been fucking horrible. Right. It's because step up the innovation to me. I don't care. It could be high school coaches. You know what I mean? Like whatever. Yes. I just think it's a lot of these ones are lazy NFL hires just because they're a name and you're trying to help sell it. I don't think it's a good thing for the league.
Right.
So, we'll see. Cause maybe, Jeff Fisher, we could talk about. Jeff Fisher was fucking horrible.
The king of innovation, Jeff Fisher.
Yeah. DeFlippo for New Orleans was fucking trash.
I mean. And again, they passed them by, and and then when you got talent that can't overcome that, it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
But that being said, I'll still give Weisenhunt a chance. I mean, he is a name. He had an innovative pass, for sure. So I'm not ready to sell out on Memphis just yet. Like I said, I didn't mind what I saw out of Troy Williams. If he could, he threw for 104, just
9.5 yards of completion. So he was taking his shots down
72%. Well, they were dead in the water until he came in. And as soon as they came in, they marched them right down, and they had some pop in the ball. So
if I'm the Rock, sitting in my home in Hawaii,
right?
I'm calling the ex-wife and saying, "Hey, tell the Showboats we need more Troy Williams, because at least he's taking shots down the field. That shit sells. I mean, there's a reason why every goddamn rule is scoring. Like, I just don't understand. Like, to me, the thing of we got to play every single player a certain amount of snaps.
Kobe as the Rock on the beach, making the call to Memphis. Listen, we need Troy Williams. Hold on, I'll be on set. Hold on there.
And that Memphis turnout might have been worse than goddamn Houston. Good Lord.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know what to expect of these towns from Memphis. It's just insane. I still have not given a good answer why they took a team out of Seattle, a market that loves just teams regardless.
Or why not cater to Yeah, any of the lost towns. I
Right,
mean,
Oakland,
really,
all the-
St. Louis
yeah.
and DC, I think, are the only ones. And I guess you could throw Birmingham in there probably because they're winning. But
Sure.
I mean, I like the Memphis Showboats as a franchise. I love the Liberty Bowl. You know, a lot of the UFL stadiums are pretty shitty. So, like, I like that. The history is there. But to me, you might want to try Boise or Omaha or fucking, you know, some of these Albuquerque or something. You know what I mean? Like some of these towns where there's what are people doing in Albuquerque right now? The New Mexico season's over.
Meth.
I would try some of these. Ones. Before we get to the final game on the slate, which was I think the best game of the weekend, want to tell the good folks out there that the UFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, they have UFL action. We played it all weekend. It was fucking phenomenal. I think there's a better edge in this than actually just hitting your book and betting UFL. If I'm being honest, and you can play Underdog Pick'em. You can play any sport and win up to 100 times the amount of money you enter. So sign up, and when you do, use our promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm is the home for AI picks and props. We were there. We were at Vegas. Rhythm party was fantastic, and Rhythm just introduced. They talked about this at the party in Vegas. Said we got the MLB Rhythm models dropping this week here. You know, this a couple days ago.
Dropped today.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. So what the hell? And they got models for NBA, golf, college hoops. I mean, what are you doing? Jump on over there. Sign up today for a free 7-day trial period at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. All right. Next up, let's go to the shocker of the week or the season, perhaps the whole fucking
busted the parlays, busted our perfect record. But I will say though, if I was going to lose one game, this was the one to do it in this fashion. It was still enjoyable to watch. It was a great game.
Yeah. This one is pretty wild. If you were to tell me the Stallions would only have 138 yards of offense,
they were dominated.
Woo!
Like it was like a 3-point game the entire time, but it never felt close.
I mean, how many sacks or QB pressures? They don't even have a stat for QB pressures.
DC had 8 sacks and 9 tackles for loss. So that's 17, city destroying tackles that happened in their territory. I mean, they just got after it. It was kind of like it was reminiscent of the Super Bowl with Mahomes just getting buried by the Eagles defensive line. And although Alex McCoy looked bad as well, I don't understand why. No, if there was one team that could have used a 2-quarterback system, you have Matt Corral.
3-quarter.
You got Chase Cook. Yeah, and you got Cookus back there. He won you the semifinal game just last year. So, I mean, he's good. You know he's good. I don't understand why they. That's Skip. Who am I to question? Skip Holtz, the dynasty coach of the year. But
no, I want you to take note. Take note though. This I guarantee you though. This is one of the things. Going back to the first year of their championship reign, like you can see in game, week by week adjustments. This is what I mean by the coaching front that we just talked about. You'll see him address this. Now, I will say this: a lot of their offensive line is not the same. And one of the things they had great from the previous couple of years was continuity on the O-line, and they were one of the better offensive lines. And I guess you could say defensive line last year as well. But that might be a real issue for them this year. I'm not going to hit the panic button yet, because I think Skip Holtz is actually a legit awesome coach. So I think they'll make adjustments. Maybe it is Matt Corral. Maybe it is, whatever, Case Cookus. But I didn't know there was this chip on their shoulder. This is the best.
That was amazing. The ruckus afterwards, the invented trash talking.
You called me a doorman at head. I love how he said at headquarters.
Yeah. Now I bet detectives on this as well. I don't think Skip said it obviously in an interview, but maybe he mistook him for a doorman. Maybe put a little $20 bill.
Fuck the whole league. You can mistake the whole league for doorman.
Put in his car keys and said park it round back. You know what I mean? Also, let's see your job come February. I bet there is close to being a doorman.
The whole league, all the players look like fucking doorman. What are we talking about? about here?
But I love a one-sided beef fight. He's like, get the fuck off my field. You called me a doorman. He's like, what? No, I did. What are you talking about? I just love that. Just yelling at him. Who cares?
Oh man, absolute fire. I just want to get back to I mean that was just I got a big problem though with the punting. Like,
oh my God. And this was the first reaction. This was the UFL. This is when Dino Blandino was
this league sucks, dude. I'm gonna be honest. Like, this league is fucking trash.
You know what this was? This punting rule. It's just a rule. They're making up rules just to make it up, just to be different. Like, no one asked for this. No one thought this was a problem.
Dude. This is a dumb.
Right.
It's a very dumb rule, and they have a lot of these in this fucking league. And
explain what it is, because
so there was a great punt by Birmingham that pinned DC. First off, it was they outlawed coffin corners, right? I mean, the chat's talking about it right now, but I'm saying like coffin this actually corners,
that went the way of jacked up. They don't like those concussions. Yeah. They don't like death references in these sports anymore.
Well, that's the irony here is the fact that they all around RU, because we get paid to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I mean, you ever get paid to
someone's asking,
some fucking garbage?
If it's trash, why you're covering? I'll defend you on this, Colby. If it's trash, why you're covering?
We're probably the only one that gets paid to talk about the UFL. By the way,
but no, hating the league and talking shit about it is all part of the UFL experience. You know what I mean? It's what we like about it. We can talk shit about it because we're covered, because it's part of us. It's like family. You know what I mean? We don't like when outsiders do, because you're not in there. You're not in the fucking bones. So I'm going after Dean Blandino. This punting rule is a fucking joke, though.
Yeah,
but it's part of the experience. We talk the trash, we bet on it, and we stuck it.
Yeah, you don't get paid that much. Okay.
You're damn right.
You're still listening.
But
you know what I mean? You're still watching or listening, whatever the fuck. What does that make you?
I'll tell you what, all around rule. We all got paid that much when we take our plays and go 6-1 on the weekend.
I was about to say 6-1-1. I made more on the UFL than this episode for sure.
100%.
So there was a great punt by the Stallions that went out of bounds, bounced out of bounds. It's not like one of the flyovers when you're playing like Madden 95 and the fucking
right.
The fucking shadow of the ball goes.
I think
it was just a great punt. It was a great punt, and it went out of bounds at the 1 yard line, and then they got the ball at the 20 or the 25, whatever it was.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Like, how is this a touchback? It didn't go in the end zone.
And then Blandino comes in once again, this fucking Blandino guy. And he's like, well, this is actually illegal. It's an illegal play. We want them to return the ball more. So I'm still confused by this, because why would they return it then? Why would they return the ball if they know if it goes out of bounds, you're going to get the ball?
They're taught not to catch the ball if it goes past you on the 10-yard line. You stand on the 10-yard line. If it goes over your head, you let it go, because it's going to bounce in the end zone. So if you put it in the corner, it's not because it's in the corner. It's because it's on the 5 is why they're not going to fucking do it. So they want you to pin it and catch it down there and pin. It's just ridiculous. You're punishing the punters is what you're doing. Like, the punting is a skill.
Special teams. Like this league sucks because you've taken an awesome element of special teams, like the onside kick, like real kick returns, like a coffin corner, and you've completely thrown it out the fucking window. And it's disgusting to me. Like, I watched that and I was like, what are we doing? What is this shit? This is like fucking slam ball. We're watching slam ball in football form. Like, that's a great fucking punt.
Real quick, it was a great punt, and I don't like them punishing the punter. And the announcer, what's funny? The announcers were like discovering it as soon as we were too. Really? That's a rule? Okay. That's gonna hurt the punters. And Blandino's like, yeah, sure does. I guess Dino and Dino Blandino, our favorite rules expert, who was never a referee, by the way. He was a comic in New York who learned to hustle his way in there. Did you see the one time when I asked them? They're like, because I did like the chest camera, that innovation. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
And they're like, Dino, you've been on the field. Is that like what you saw when he got? And Dino couldn't answer that. I've technically never been on the field. I lied to get this job, but so I'm making this up as I go. Oh, okay. Well, fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, I just killer, man. Like, hold on. So why even have a punter? Like,
I know. Well, it's not that. I mean, you got to punt it, but exactly what? Just move the ball 40 yards.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're gonna do this dumb shit, why even have the fucking league like this? Then, like, I don't. Hey, your players want more money. Get rid of the fucking punters. Throw that shit into the pot because I don't see the purpose of them anymore.
Right. Back to the players on the field though. Tamu, the other one who J Mark hates. He had it.
Yeah, J Mark. I understand why he's not here.
He had a high volume game. I mean, he was 17 for 37, threw for like 45%, which isn't great, but he threw for over 200 yards. And that pass he did right before first half was amazing. That wheel route he did.
No, that was.
Them and scored first. I'm like, that's why he was that 5-star athlete. Deion Jackson, who had my DFS team, he looked good. Didn't put up great numbers, but 10 for 42. I didn't think Smith was going to be back 100%. Other than that, my main takeaway besides DC's defense and Greg Williams' defense, which was ferocious. Who's the D lineman had at sacks? Who said you're going to get fired for this? Talking to the tackle, like they pulled him out of the game. He goes, I don't care.
Oh yeah,
tell him you're going to get fired.
Was that Thompson? Was that Wallace? I feel like I don't know. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It was just amazing. But McCall just looks so bad. I mean, if he does that again, I'm ready. I had a short leash on in that game because I had money on it. But I mean, let's get Corral in there flying. I mean, he's the veteran. I don't understand why. I get it. McCall was the MVP a couple years ago, but he did not look good. He did run the ball well. He ran for 80 yards, but he was quick. He was quick to tuck and run towards the end because that was the only thing working for him. He was shook back there.
Yeah. Here's the question I have with DC.
Yeah.
If you really got caught a doorman, go park the car. All right. Did the players all know this, and is this their motivation? And also, I know they said, what's the interim's coach's name? I'm drawing a blank on it. Shannon.
Henderson, was it?
Is it Dawson? No. Shannon. I forget. The interim head coach right now.
Or something.
Yeah. He's gonna. Next thing he's gonna have it out for us.
I know.
You didn't know my fucking name.
Say my name.
Shannon Harris. There we go.
I knew it was an H.
Well, Shannon Harris, all these coaches are going to Tennessee State at some point. I don't think all are waiting towards the end of the season, from what I understand. Now, it doesn't mean that I think Harris is waiting to the end of the season, from what I understand. Yeah. But I think some of the positional coaches, they have a spring game in like fucking 7 days or 8 days or something. So how much of an issue should I had a hard time doing my power rankings with DC because I was like, wait, looking forward, what do you put this as? Was this a one spot motivational game because he thought he was a fucking doorman? Right.
They seemed highly motivated. That's for sure. And I still, the coaching situation is still up in the air. Greg Williams showing up was beyond me. Maybe he's doing listen, I'll show up on campus for game day. Then I'll just show up and just say blitz 1,000 times.
I mean, it's a real issue though. Like they got fucking 12 coaches going to Tennessee State. You got a fucking spring game happening in a little bit. I mean, You're hitting the portal because a bunch of their own players hit the portal to follow Eddie George at Bowling Green. So,
I just want a documentary of Greg Williams on campus at Tennessee. Was it Tennessee Tech? Tennessee State? Tennessee State, historically black college, where Eddie George was just coach, right?
Well, Jeff Fisher was on his staff, though. Jeff Fisher was on Eddie George's staff.
Yeah,
I think that was the tie-in. Because Greg Williams got his start under Jeff Fisher with the Oilers back in the day. So that might have been the fucking tie-in to the hire of Reggie Barlow. So
hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to hit the panic on this. Was a shocking game, and this was an ass whooping. Like, I honestly think me and my brother were texting back and forth on this. Like, as you know, we've kind of really appreciated Birmingham. We hit them as a future in year 1 3 years ago, and we've just been riding a future every year. But I don't think they've ever had a game where the offense looked this bad.
No, they were terrible, but they have enough in the bank, enough equity, enough trust to say you certainly can't give up on them. I mean, they're still the favorite for crying out loud. And their odds went up a little bit. You can get them at a nice juicier price at plus 275 now, which I wouldn't mind recommend. I mean, this is what they do. So they got a nice game coming up this week too. So we'll see.
Yeah. I heard Skip complaining about that. We don't have much time by the time we get back to Birmingham. We only have 2 days of practice. Someone just yelled at me midfield at Aldi Field at DC United Stadium.
Maybe that's the narrative.
Get the fuck off their field.
Maybe that's the narrative this year. Maybe that's in the script. Maybe they start out.
I would like that.
You know what I mean?
That's how you do it. All right.
Get some drama in this league because before there was no drama. Birmingham was just steamrolling people.
Yeah. And Curtis Johnson was saying, "Who called that? What's going on here?"
Now, if Curtis Johnson and Houston beats Birmingham, then you can hit the panic button.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to our power rankings here.
Right.
No slides, nothing. Just us power ranking.
Let's just fire through it.
The magnificent 8 of the UFL. At number 8, I think we're both going to have the same team.
Yep, Roughnecks, and they're a disaster.
There's a big gap, I think.
We had a listener who was at the game, and he said he chimed in and messaged us. J Mark reported this. Coach,
I know who you're talking about.
Coach was there, and he said they look even worse in person. He's like, it just looks like complete disarray with Houston. They are a full-on fade.
How did
the opposite of what Drunken Irishman, who was at the DC game, who was at the Beer Snake. The Beer Snake, by the way, got a lot of TV time this week. It was like one of those,
Well, they had to milk it because the turnouts in the other 3 games were dog shit. They had to milk that DC game. It wasn't even as lit as traditional DC games, but it was good enough. If you could get DC to mimic all the stadiums there, other than St. Louis, I think that would work.
Who do you got at 7?
At 7, I'm going to put, I think it's the Showboats.
Yeah.
Just because it was a one game wonder from their coaching point of view. We'll see what Wizenhunt does, but I just can't get there. I can't put them above the Stallions.
Showboats 7, but I will say they looked better than I thought they would, and we still have an eye on them for potential to grow there. But yeah, you still have to put them at 7 because you can't put them above the Brahmas or Birmingham, obviously, and that's why I'm ranking the 4 losses here, 8 through 5 myself, to give thumbs away. So I have 6. I have the Brahmas. I think that's an easy 8, 7, 6.
Yeah, no, I think everyone should have that. We'll see what J Marks are when we have him on Thursday or Wednesday, whenever the hell we do the show. When are we doing that? Wednesday?
I have J Mark's rankings if you want to hear.
Oh, fire.
I mean, you know him. He's calling in from the deathbeds of the hospitals to talk the game. He has Roughnecks. He Showboats Brahmas. So he does have 8-7-6 just like us. And he starts off with the Stallions at 5. I also have the Stallions at 5. How about yourself? Now I know you like to think outside the box with the rankings. I wouldn't put you past.
I'm not gonna hit the panic on the stats.
I was just gonna say I wouldn't put you past you keeping him at number 1.
This is a personal grudge, all right? This guy called him a doorman. He said, "Hey, do me a favor, park my Astro van."
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna go at what are we at? 6? You said?
5. You had the Brahmas at
5.
6.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I had the Brahmas at 6. No, at 5. I'm one of these ones that's just gonna throw in the DC Defenders.
Yeah, I mean,
the coaching staff is going to be going somewhere. I just wonder the tone of that locker room moving forward with all those coaches leaving, and this seemed like a C-note game for some personal stuff from a year ago. I don't know if it's sustainable long term.
You got to give them a little credit though for what they did. I mean, come on.
They dominated them. Don't get me wrong.
Dominated and made Birmingham look bad too.
Yes.
They made them look bad. If it was a game where there was these freak turnovers, and they were getting there with the home crowd and they rode that momentum.
Do they play again this year? I haven't looked at that
argument. But with the schedule for them, I don't know. I'll check that out. But what I'm trying to say is, you have to give them a little credit for that. I mean, whatever. I get it. Not bailing on Birmingham, but
yeah, it's like the 3 times. It's like when Chicago Bulls are winning all those championships and they lost the opening night game to the Denver Nuggets with Mutombo or some shit. You know what I mean? You're not going to hit the panic button. You're not going to hit the panic button on. They've won 3 straight championships. They've earned that.
Right.
So I'm still gonna, me. I'm a Skip Holtz guy. So
J Mark has the Stallions 5. I have the Stallions 5. 4. I have those DC Defenders, so just like you, I did have for all the same reasons you mentioned. The coaching is still up in the air. They played a great game; they deserve it. But I think all the teams that won looked pretty good.
Yeah, I got the Michigan Panthers here, and the only reason why I don't have them higher no, I'm sorry. So what is this? 3?
This is 4. You had DC Defenders 5.
Okay,
right?
Yeah. Wait. So I had at 8 Houston.
You had 8 Houston, 7 Showboats, 6 Brahmas, 5 you put Defenders, 4 who do you have?
Yeah, 4 I had 4 I had the Michigan Panthers. So I was right. I'm sorry. I just got my numbers all fucked up. Michigan to me. Well, the reason why is because they keep this taboo quarterback shit. I can't. I don't know what to make. Like this goes back to last year to me. My ratings I guess are based off of last year too, because they kept doing this shit with Perkins, and it drove me crazy. If you're going to continue to do this, it ruins the continuity of your offense, but also it's just you have a guy that's way better than the rest of the league, and you're it's like having Barry Sanders and just saying, well, we're going to play him on third downs. It's something that worries me moving forward about. I have a future on Michigan too, but it worries me a little bit.
They're a decent price. They're at 6-1. I actually went, let's see where I had defenders 4, Stallions 5, defenders 4. And I actually went Arlington 3. I don't want to jinx my future, even though I'm all in on Arlington. I don't want to get too crazy. Let's not forget where they were. They were around the bottom of the league rankings just before this game, even though we liked them. And there's a reason why you could grab them at 11-1. And they're still like the 6th favorite now, even though the price is down to 475. I just want to give them too much, but number 3, they look great. Nothing wrong with it. We'll see what they do when competition steps up. It won't be this week because they're going to smoke Houston out this week. But.
No. For me at number 3 was I had St. Louis. I mean, they looked phenomenal. I'm not trying to I could see Battlehawk fans, because they actually have fans actually being upset with they look phenomenal. I just don't know what to make of. I think Houston's so bad. What do we make of this?
No, it's right. It's hard. It's impossible to judge them. Yeah. But they look great. They have the continuity. We know who they are, though. We know who Coach Tony Meatball is. We know who that system is. And they have, even if Manny Wilkins isn't that good, they have a backup quarterbacks that are good, and they have talent all the way around.
Their wideouts are nasty.
Their wideouts are nasty, and their running backs are good.
Yeah.
J Mark has a defenders number 3, and he has the Battlehawks number 2. Wow. And he's a big Battlehawk guy.
So who do you got? Who do you got at 2?
I have the Panthers at 2. And then Battlehawks at 1 is what I went with. I went Renegades, Panthers, Battlehawks. I think just because of the continuity. The Panthers, like you said, if they stop fucking around with the quarterbacks.
That's what I'm saying. I got a bone to pick with Michigan until they show me that he's the guy. The entire time. I have a hard time. 100% buying in. But
how about J Mark with the Renegades at 1 for him? He's the Luis Perez hater.
You know what? I bet you he bought the King of Spring. That's probably why he's not here right now. As you're reading that fucking thing.
That's what they do in Iowa. They take personal leaves to read a book.
No, I have the Stallions at 2. The Stallions dropped 1 spot to me. That was the worst they've ever looked. But I'm not ready to just quit on them. And at 1, I'm gonna put the Renegades. I think they had the best offense in the league, or arguably the top offense in the league a year ago. All you had to do is fix the defense. If anything, I think the offense might have even got a little bit better. I'm buying in. I got futures on Birmingham.
Let's go.
Yeah, and the Birmingham future I should be a little concerned about, but the Arlington one looks pretty fire.
No, Arlington, Birmingham's when you get in now.
Wait, so who was your one? Your one was St. Louis?
My one was St. Louis. They looked great. They look great. Obviously it was against Houston, but they also took the foot off the pedal too. I mean, they could have done whatever they wanted, and they did. Yeah, 460 yards to 170.
That's like 10,000 in this league, by the way.
I know.
When you do that many yards.
Yeah. So you have to give them credit for what credit's due. They got the job done easily.
Fair. I just wonder if the league would actually have the if Houston gives this performance 2 or 3 more weeks,
right?
This is the problem with the league owning every team. Would they actually fire Curtis Johnson? Because it's hard to get, if you're trying
but they want Curtis Johnson to succeed. That's the reason why they gave him this team. And this is the dangerous son of a bum to San Antonio.
You Riverwalk motherfucker. No, this is but this is something I think, now that we've had years of this league, I think if you want fans to buy in, they got to feel like it's theirs. You know what I mean? And if it's not, with the problem with you owning the whole league is, if the fans want Curtis Johnson fired, I know there was no fans at the fucking game, but I'm just saying, It's the same thing with Bryce Perkins playing.
I just thought of a great idea, Kobe.
What's
and
that?
That is, we got to write our own letter to hand to the Rock, okay? Of what we want out of the UFL, the fans, the show. What are your demands? I would love Colby's letter to the Rock. An open letter to the Rock. That's what we need done.
I honestly don't even think he gives a fuck. You could tell by he didn't meet his tweet quota a year ago.
Well, he sent the ex-wife out there, so he should handle the business.
Anyway, we got action, folks. Don't forget this Friday night. We get Birmingham, Michigan. Great game, actually. Probably this is a huge game. That's a over under on how many people will be at Ford Field, CJ.
Well, is there a graduation there this weekend? Last time there was going to be a game at Detroit.
Wayne State had a graduation.
Wayne State had a graduation, so they had to move the game to Alabama. I don't know. They showed out a little bit when whatever. Jake Bates is gone though, and he was a fan favorite, so who knows? But I will say this, also why I have St. Louis number 1. Wait till they play a game at home too. We all know that's the actual home field advantage in this league. That's
fair. You know? That is fair. So Friday we get Birmingham at Michigan. Saturday Memphis at DC. I wonder what Ken Wisenhut called Shannon Harris.
I bet
headquarters.
I know. That'd be great if he just comes up with a different fake insult.
As long as he says at headquarters too. He's like, you know what? You called me
you called me a caddy, you son of a bitch. What are you talking about? I don't even golf. I bet people show up to Michigan. That's a great game Friday night.
I don't know, man. Those turnouts have been horrible over the past couple of years, but we'll see. DC will have a decent crowd. Yeah. Houston at Arlington on Sunday, and San Antonio at St. Louis. This is a better week of games than week 1. What is the game you're looking forward to most before we get out of here?
That Friday night game, Birmingham at Michigan. That's a great game.
I agree.
Birmingham needs to bounce back, and let's go. And Michigan, I have them number 2. They have that great defense, and they were great games last year. They played twice,
I completely agree.
So let's go.
Completely agree. All right, folks, that's our show. We'll be back tomorrow, I think, right? Is it tomorrow we're giving away our winners?
Is it? Yeah, maybe, possibly tomorrow. We'll see if J Mark's done reading that book.
J Mark's reading the book. He took the wife to a nice hotel with he started a fire. He's going to be reading The King of Spring, narrating it to his wife.
Either tomorrow or Thursday. We'll let you know.
Yeah, we'll let you know. Follow us on Twitter at UFL Gambling. CJ's on Twitter at CJ Sullivan _. Check him out. Doing any you around town? Where you at right now?
The 2 legends, as we were calling the chat, as we have one hater, and I'm the chat to care of him, and I appreciate that. Follow me on Instagram as well at CJ Sullivan was taken _ in between each word. Stand up basically in the California scene. I need to make the UFL tour. That's what I need to do. I need to stand up in the arenas, see who outdraws who. Let's see, will it be the Renegades?
I got a lot of money on you, buddy. I got a lot of money on you, outdraw.
Yeah, it'll be close.
And I also,
I would love to do their halftime show. I would love to.
I'll come with you. Someone else will call me.
Tour.
Someone else will say, we'll call me the bellman.
We should do a tour. I mean, a UFL tour. I'm being serious. That sounds great.
I would love to. We got to find a way to make that happen. I'm on Twitter at the Colby D. Once again, UFL Gambling Podcast on Twitter at UFL Gambling Pod, YouTube.com. Type in UFL Gambling Podcast, hit that like and subscribe button. Check out all of our other work too. The College Football Experience, Sports Gambling Podcast, Bottom Line Bob's Podcast.
Yes.
What are you guys talking about next over the Bottom Line Bombs?
Well, the Bottom Line Bombs. We're crushing the crown as we speak with all these overs. We got the Masters coming up. The man in the box is always bringing something. All around, Rue. I know you fuck with me. Get in that Bottom Line Bombs podcast. I fuck with you. I fuck with Rue too. As I like to say.
There you go.
But there's always something going on over there. So check on in. That show will be tomorrow, and I do the NFL draft show with Sean and Ryan on Wednesday as well.
There we go, folks. Check all of it out. Till next time, this is the UFL Gambling Podcast, where crossroads meet bullshit. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.